Hi, everyone. I wanted to talk about travel credit cards today and specifically the United Club Card. I picked this card because I currently own this card, and in February, the annual fee goes up to a whopping $695 a year. Now, I know that's less than the Amex Platinum and the Chase Reserve, but it is still a lot, and I need to determine whether it is the right card for me and whether I should keep it. When looking at a card, it's important to realistically look at your travel patterns. I will travel around 10 times a year for work and personal, and I generally travel to Europe once a year, and the rest of that travel is in the US to different cities. When evaluating the value of the card, I'm looking for the dollar value of the benefits to offset the annual fee. So let's dive in and take a look and see if this is going to be the right card to keep or not. The Club Card is United's top tier card. It has the most benefits and the highest annual fee. When you look at some of the benefits for this card, one of which is the $200 credit for renowned hotels and resorts. This is something I was looking at because a $200 credit obviously will offset some of that annual fee. Now, renowned hotels and resorts is essentially a grouping of luxury hotels from all different brands into one program. So these will have hotels from Marriott, IHG, Hilton, and other luxury brands all bundled together. So if you book through the Chase portal, you can get a $200 statement credit for staying at one of those hotels. Unfortunately, what I found is that you often could get a much better rate by booking directly with the brand and better benefits as well. So if I book with Marriott, I'm going to get better benefits generally for that hotel and also potentially a lower rate. Also, availability is very much limited through the Chase portal. So for some hotels, I couldn't find an available date for say 6, 7 months out. But yet, if I went to the hotel's website through their partner, I was able to book anytime. So there's going to be a lot of limitations there that you may find. Also, these are luxury hotels. So you're looking at rates of $500, $700, $800 a night. So while a $200 credit, of course, is great if you can get that, it's not going to offset the cost of that hotel substantially. Based on this, I don't expect that I will use this benefit very often, if at all. So I really don't see that as a value. The $150 credits in rideshare, generally Uber, you can get that back. You can get $12 a month, and then in December up to 18. If I factor 10 trips a year at most, I'm going to get about $120 back for that. So while that's value, that does help offset some of the annual fee. We still have a ways to go. Looking at the next one was the $100 in United travel credits for Avis or budget car rentals. You get $50 back for up to $100 each year, anniversary year. That's nice, but keep in mind, you do have to then turn around and use that $50 towards a United flight. So it's not a statement credit. It's a travel bank. Those generally expire in 12 months. So while there is a little bit of value there, I just don't see that as huge. Rarely rent cars nowadays. And I think a lot of travelers do not rent cars unless you absolutely have to. With Uber and rideshare and everything else we have, I don't feel like I've rented a cars enough where I'm going to get that $100 back and be able to use that towards another flight. So again, I don't see the value of that. The next one was the Instacart. I was a bit excited about this one. And so we did some research. What we found is that while you do get the $10 a month credit back, you still have to pay service fees. So they do waive some of the delivery fees, but the service fees are still there. Plus, Instacart tends to mark up the price of the item, not just add the fees. So you are paying more for the item plus the service fees, really wiped out any savings that you would get from doing that. And with only $10 a month coming back, it's just not a huge value. And I really don't see it as a benefit as well. And it's a shame because the $240, if we could use that, would have made up a big difference of that annual fee. The next one, the $200 credit on JSX. This is essentially private planes that you can rent. Never going to do that. So there's really no value there. Now, the real reason to have this particular card is the club access. So with the card, you can get straight into clubs, even if you're not flying in business class, for example. It's different than, say, the 1 day passes. If you've traveled recently, you know that these clubs are full and often they are not accepting 1 day passes. I've still been able to gain access to the club, no problem, using this card. So it will be better than the 1 day passes for sure. But again, tend to fly business class overseas. So when I really want to have access to a club, which is those super long flights with big layovers, things like that, maybe you want to take a shower after a flight, something like that, I'm generally going to have access to that anyway, just because I'm flying business class. The one of the big changes they made recently was this benefit is only to United clubs. If you want to get access to Star Alliance clubs, so other partners of United, maybe you're flying and you want to get into an Austrian Airlines club or a Lufthansa club, something like that. If it's not included, you have to upgrade to that. So in order to get that access, you have to spend at least $50,000 on the card, and then you will be upgraded, and then you will have that all access membership. It's a lot of spend, $50,000 in order to get into clubs for partners that you may not even want to get into very often, right? So again, it's nice, but I don't know that's a huge value. And again, that's not a rebate or direct impact on the annual fee. So this is something I would have to spend and then hope I get that value out of that. Looking at some of the other ones, you get your luggage, first and second bag, check bags for free. Great. But if I'm flying business class, I'm not going to probably check bags anyway. I rarely check bags, if ever. If I'm flying in the US, I do not check bags. If I'm flying overseas, I rarely check bags either. So again, I don't see that as a huge value. And a lot of times you can get that included in many other ways. The global entry fee and the TSA PreCheck, that's nice to have, but I renewed mine last year. I did use the benefit from the card. So that's great. I won't be able to do that for another 4 years. So again, I don't really see the value of getting that here. It's just not going to help me out for that. Some of the other ones, like you can get 20,000 miles rewards. So I was very interested in this one when I saw this, because if you spend $20,000 on the card, you can get a 10,000 mile discount for points. And if you spend 40,000, you get another 20,000 mile discount for points. That's nice. But when looking at it in depth, one thing is that only goes towards reward travel. So you cannot use that in a points and miles scenario where maybe you don't have enough points. And so you want to use some cash. This could have discounted those points by 10,000, could have been beneficial. Does not work, has to be all award travel. Also, you can't stack them. So if you earn two of them, you cannot then apply and you get a 20,000 mile discount on one flight. So it's only 10,000 per flight. So again, that's a limited value. And plus spending $40,000 on the card to get 20,000 mile discount, you could probably do that same spend on another card and get a way more value and benefit for that. Looking at some of the other benefits, they promote IHG One Rewards. It's funny, I think IHG is partnered with every travel credit card out there to offer this benefit. So I have this benefit from at least two other cards. So again, don't see that as a huge value. It's just something that it's nice to have, but also if you don't stay at IHG properties, it's really not a value to you. No foreign transaction fees. Everyone does that now. So again, not unique to United. This one was interesting. United uses PQP points or PQPs in order to determine your status. So if you hit so many PQPs from flying and purchasing, then that's what's going to change your status. The highest level status that they have is the Premier 1K. And in order to get that, you can get to spend at least 28,000 PQPs. you can get that through spend on the credit card. So that sounds good. Okay, I can spend my way to top tier status until you realize that to purchase 28,000 PQPs will be over $400,000. And if you're spending $400,000 a year on a credit card, it's highly unlikely you're going to be spending it on a United card. You're probably going to have an MX Platinum or some kind of business card. And really, you're probably going to get way more value and benefit by putting that spend on those cards than on this one anyway. So again, not a huge value there. As you can see and hear from me talking about this, it's very unlikely I'm going to renew this card. There is just not enough value to offset the annual fee. And in looking at a lot of the cards, I'm really coming to that conclusion, at least for me, that most of these high-end cards just aren't worth it anymore. You have to be doing some amazing spending, some really high dollar spend to make it make sense. And there's a lot of other cards that you could look at. So looking at some of the other cards from United, even the United Quest card has a $350 annual fee. That is way more reasonable, in my opinion. I mean, with this offer, you can get 100,000 points, 3,000 PQP, plus a $200 travel credit, right? So that one could actually be worth doing. The United Explorer will give you check bags. It will give you 60,000 bonus miles. Annual fee is only $150 and they'll waive it for the first year. So again, that could be a good one to get, but I really don't believe at this point that I will be considering renewing the United card. Let me know in the comments your position on this, if you have this card and what your thoughts are, or just really what do you think about this high price rate increases that all of these card issuers are doing? Is it worth it anymore to have some of these high dollar travel cards? Now, if you've been following, we are planning to do the JetBlue 25 for 25 promotion. So we did open up 2 JetBlue credit cards recently. One of them had a $60,000 point spend for only spending $1,000. The other one was 50,000 points for spending 2,000. So that was a business card. So we opened up both those cards in order to get those JetBlue points, and we're now going to use the JetBlue points towards that JetBlue 25 for 25 program. If you want to learn more about that, I have a video that we did on that and our strategy around how we're going to accomplish that 25 destinations by the end of the year in order to earn those 350,000 points plus 25 years of Mosaic status. So it's going to be fun. So take a look at that video if you're interested. We are a new channel, so I appreciate any follows, any likes. We're working on content, trying to get better at it, and just really hope to share some value with others. Hopefully you learned or got some value out of this video. Thank you.